No, I'm back live, but still. Ah, now something works. Ha! Okay, I did it. Second try. Hello, everybody. I'm here at my little attic in Madrid, trying to desperately get back in shape because I took a break of the cello for 2 weeks, and now I have to see where questions will come here. So I'm streaming this live from Madrid on YouTube, Facebook, and I see their messages, and Instagram at the same time. This is something people do since months and years, but for me it's the very first time, so sorry for the hiccup, but it didn't want to connect, and now I see myself very delayed. That's quite annoying. But so there are some people saying hi, hello everybody. If you have any questions, let me know, because I have very little prepared. Oh, good. First question of Morgan K55. How do you practice thirds? You are in the practice room right now. Any double steps. And I need to get myself away from. Oh no, I cannot get myself away. I hate seeing myself with 20 seconds delay. Just a little information. This is my Gofrilla, on which I'm playing actually since 2004, almost 20 years. And I had tried out, or I'm still trying out, a Guarneri, beautiful cello, since September. But now since a week I'm playing on that again because I needed to get back in shape. And this is the hardest thing to do. The string height is, I think, 8 millimeters, so it's very difficult to press down. Oh, so that's all the excuses why I cannot play yet. But here are thirds. I mean, any double stops. For example, I do fourths. So, but let's just play a couple of thirds. Now it depends. Lower string first, higher string next, slur, exactly how I did. So that's the first step, and the second step, very slow, and it has to be in tune. So if you go, let's see. So since you played the F sharp, this is flat. First, I think it's easier to tell which one was wrong. So, okay, that's the open string. Anyway, but here, you can see the B natural is flat. So I go. With all the time in the world. The next step would be. And so on. But first do the da-da-dum, like this. And the next one is isolated. You play like, or whatever, fingering. And so on. That's how I practice any kind of double stop problems. In my daily routines, I don't know if you follow, there after scales and arpeggios I do fourths. And I start always like that. So since 40 years, since my teacher taught me how to practice double stops, that's how I do it. I have to go to the other to see. Okay, there are some other messages. Sorry, And there was a way how to put this on, no? Like this. Ah, yeah, here. You're following my daily exercises. Hi, Kerem Atatürk. Helps a lot. Thank you for sharing your wisdom. Also, I really like your Mattia Graffilo sound. Studying mid right now. Hope. Chance to listen. Elga concert in Istanbul. Ah, okay. Well, thank you. Glad you like the Gofrilla. So that's the Gofrilla. Maybe I take the Guarneri out of the box as well, just to get a comparison. And how do I get rid of this comment now? Ah, yeah, here. Okay. Hello, Mette to Denmark. Oh, so Gang would like to know what the banana bow is. And okay, that's in German. I cannot see if you're, I don't know if you're, well, you ask that it looks as if I use my body weight, and that's very well observed. I'm trying to use as little muscle as possible. So, and one of the exercises to use my arm weight to produce a sound is banana bow. So the banana bow just, I mean, there are hundreds of times I showed it online, but I'm happy to do it again. But if you want to more explicitly search on YouTube, there will be one video with banana bow. So you come and you get the string to ring without stopping. I mean, I do it these days always on the C string because it's the hardest to immediately grab the string. And so, and not this, but really the arm weight, and we go in, and the same with the left hand. Also, for that, my 1, 2, 3, fourth daily routine is Kosman. And this I do mainly to remind my left arm and my left hand to play like this and not like this. I'm hanging my arm to the fingerboard and not otherwise. Okay. Good. Hello DMSH85. You were interested in a healthy balance between mute and not mute practice. Oh, I have no idea if there's a healthy balance. I try not to annoy the neighbors too much. And when I practice early or late, then I use the mute. I'm not 100% convinced that it's actually helpful to practice with the mute. I always play with earplugs. Maybe it's good to practice with mute, maybe not. I have no real strong opinion. But a healthy balance, well, it's definitely not good to practice only with mute. It's probably not even good for the instrument, because it needs to ring freely as well. So I would say 50-50 sounds healthy. I don't know, but I don't have a strong opinion on that. Hello Grace, how do I work on the octave passage in the last variation of the Rococo variations? Exactly the same like I work on the thirds. I mean, for me the hardest thing of these octaves is actually the jump from there to the F sharp. That's hard. So this you really have to practice. Oh God, I can hardly press down here. I don't know if I can play a concert on this thing. So that's a tough jump, and it has to be quite fast. But once, I mean, so this is one difficulty which has to be practiced, and then the octaves, as I showed with the thirds, you just... Same thing, and then... Don't vibrate, monsieur. So quite decisive, the shift, I think. And after that, why do I shake? tune. Sorry, I'm doing a bad job here. So that's the idea is you stop the bow and then you shift and then you get it right. So if it's not right, do it again. Or do 2 steps back and go again with this. Then I was wondering, sorry. And so on. Once you have it intonation, now comes the next problem, which is the bowings. Because often I hear like, but it's da 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 da. And here, if I'm in a jury, which I hope I will never be again, but if somebody goes, I will give a lot of minus points. The bowing is, and if you cannot do it, then maybe don't play the piece. I mean, that's as difficult as the octaves. The da 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 dam. So a little, if you do that bowing, which I urge you to do, articulate with your right hand. So this similar. So there's not. I think it gives more definition to the place. If you stay in. Oh yeah, and you're going up there. So. Oh, and the other one with a bit more sound on the D string than on the A string. So we can hear the lower string. Otherwise, it's just here's the A string. With the I talked about using a hotel mute to practice in this video with the W mutes. Sorry, I forgot what I said there. Whatever I say, I mean, but I change my opinion quite often. I'm a Gemini, we change opinion a lot. And supposedly I have ADHS, so that is not helpful either to remember anything I ever said. So don't hold me accountable. I still practice with the mute, here it is. So about 30-40% I practice with the mute, I'd say. Okay, Kerem has a question. I have a question. Since you mentioned Guarneri and Matteo Gofrilla, I'm curious about how you approach a new cello and exploring new colors. I guess since those instruments have different characters, so I would appreciate it if you how you test a new cello or get used to one. It actually goes quite quickly. I think I posted on Instagram the video of when I just picked up the Guarneri and I played the Prokofiev on it, and that took, I think, 36 hours after I picked it up. I played the concert. I think with the earplugs it helps me understand the cello quite quickly. Finally, it's not rocket science. Some react more sensitive, and with the earplugs it tells me what I can do and what I shouldn't do. But also it makes me a little bit less sensitive how it sounds here, because how it sounds at my ear is completely irrelevant. What matters is how it sounds farther away. And this I wouldn't be able to tell without earplugs. And actually somebody told me that my esteemed colleague Johannes Moser is using earplugs as well now. So I guess it cannot be that bad since he's a great player. But how do I test it? Well, I do a lot of daily routines. On a new cello, I do definitely 2 hours of daily routines first. And that actually tells me all I need to know about an instrument. So when I do that, if I pick up a cello and I have to play a concert that same night, I wouldn't worry so much about practicing the piece on it, but I would really spend 2 hours just doing these daily routines and mapping out the fingerboard. Also, with as you know, the daily routines, I focus on having a good sound. Even for the Crossman, I go as close as I can to the bridge. I probably should hop over to at some point to the maybe that was not such a good idea. Oh no. Let's see. Do I have other questions? Oh, okay. I go from beginning. 1 second. So I say hi to everybody. Okay. So Alfonso is asking, Gofrilla's back. Oh, Gofrilla was never gone, at least not in the last 4 months. It was always sitting here and waiting for my return. And now I returned, and I'm enjoying it. It's much harder to play than the Guarneri. The Guarneri has a bit more overtones on the A string, and it's much smaller. Well, I get it out in a second. It's around the corner. Oscar is asking if I play improvisation. I did twice or 3 times in my life, and it's other people are so much better at doing that. So I needed to spend a lot of time, and I did, and it was actually quite rewarding to feel that I can do it. But it's not my strength, so I leave it to people who are good at that. I mean, my pianist and friend Stephen Osborne, he's a great jazz improviser. So is Marcus Becker, also great pianist and friend. And they, especially Stephen, urged me to try to improvise a little with him, but no, that's not my thing. R1NAFRD is asking for warm-up exercises for vibrato. Well, in my daily routines, you have good vibrato exercises. The swan with each finger, which I won't play now because I have done that at every. So, but no, I won't. Just the first 2 notes. So with each finger. So the whole piece with each finger, including the thumb. So that's a good. I mean, that's more than warm up. That's training. A good warm up would be what I do afterwards. It's from my wife, who's a violinist. That's a good exercise for continuous vibrato, but also good warm up. And if that's too hard, you can just go in normal steps. I mean, in half steps. Like this. Just to manage to do this without stopping. I don't warm up the vibrato. I just... Oh, I should show the difference of the 2 cellos. Oh, hello, Alexander. Yes, I will. Let's see. Alexander Fahrenholz, a very good friend of mine and my former roommate in Berlin. I get the other cello. 1 second. This hadn't been out since 3 weeks, so I don't know if it has any kind of intonation. So this is this very lovely Joseph Guarneri. Let's see. Still similar. So I do the same. Also much easier. Or the swan with 1 finger. So that's the Guarneri, and the same. I could do this with 2 fingers, but I haven't actually tried them, compared them ever. Sounds like a cello. Well, definitely the Gofrilla has a bigger bass, I would say. And the Guarneri has the bigger A string. Oh, so much smaller. So since 8 days I'm practicing again after my well-deserved holiday break. I once interviewed Stephen Isserlis, and he told me that he has to practice every day. He's addicted to the cello, and I cannot feel with him. I mean, I admire him very much, but I'm the happiest when I don't have to practice. Not the happiest, but I'm very happy if I have a time off the cello. In the fifth chord. I'm in the fifth chord. Oh, I don't know what the fifth chord is. I'm so sorry. Yes, Melmel is seeing that I have a live practicing session. There are many on my Patreon site. So if you want to see the Patreon site, feel free to figure it out. There, like, I think at some point I'm showing how I learn at the fountain by whom is that? Forgot, Davidov. So from scratch. And every day, half hour, I did it for 10 days. And at the end, I could hardly, I don't know. I forgot, it's a long time ago. Aaron Bologna, Petrus Cellist, is asking why I don't cut from the bridge. I could ask for a lower bridge from the luthier. Okay, maybe with less power, but still we have the old sound. Well, I just asked for the higher bridge because it was too low. And she put the higher bridge, she didn't want to put as high, and I said as high as you can do. And that's the highest. And so it's good for training. And we'll see. I mean, I get better and better, and it allows me to dig deeper into the string. So it's quite, let's see. I haven't tried a real, well, I'm learning these days the Casado suite, but here it just starts hurting, but it hurts because I had not played for 2 weeks. So my calluses are gone, and where is that? Am I still using the real thing here, actually? Yeah. So if I have 2 lower bridges, but they're a little too low. And this will be easy to make a little less. But I don't have a luthier here in Madrid, that's the problem. I would have to go back to Berlin. The descendants arpeggios at the final of Popper's Elfentanz. How do I practice the descendant arpeggios at the final of Popper's Elfentanz? Like I practice the whole piece. I mean, you practice it slow. I haven't played that in forever, but I can't. This you mean, no? Also note by note. And you can see where I am. So really as close to the bridge as possible. And then slow, then more legato. works. Now and then with the rhythms, I mean, I'm playing it out of tune now, but I just do the fast forward thing. I'm just thinking fingering. I always use the second there, but actually the third would be better. And then the other one. And the other way around. But quite precise with the left hand, right hand. So. Ah, shit. And then tempo. Whatever. You get the idea. And with metronome, I mean the whole piece, the end is not so difficult. What's difficult about the end is that you're completely dead by then. So practice whenever I have to play the piece, which I haven't done in 4 years, I think. 5 years. And before that I didn't play it for 15 years. Or 20 years. Because it's so tiring. I practice it slow. The whole thing with metronome, whatever that is. Like start with 100 and then go mercilessness in steps of 10 or 15 until 200. The whole thing without stopping. I mean, once you have it in your fingers, because that's the hardest. The difficult. What is the other one? This. How does it go? Yeah. So this is out of tune what I'm doing, but to fix that would take me about 10 minutes and then I could play it in tune. So I could play the whole thing in tune if I practice half hour, but to play it in speed, I would need probably a week to train my right arm because it's so tiring. And it should be fast, otherwise why play it? Linda is asking how I overcome the fear of playing in big theaters. I tried not to take myself too important. I tried to move myself out of the center of my attention and not focus so much on me, because who cares if I play well or bad? Mainly me. And that for me at the end was not reason enough to be so nervous. Well, obviously to prepare well, but I know some people prepare well and then they start questioning themselves. So try, maybe there's a kind of mindfulness, isn't it? To let those negative, to manage to keep the negative thoughts out. Which there are places in the cello repertoire which I'm very aware of where negative thoughts can crawl in. And obviously it happens to me as well. So it's quite a mental thing to block them out and to think positive. And obviously when we practice we have to be very hard on ourselves, but in performance we should just really enjoy the music. But that's easier said than done, I know. But I promise that was one of my reasons how I overcame a lot of stage fright. What am I saying? Yeah, I had a lot of boat tremble and I consciously moved myself out of the center of my attention. I should go check the other comments. I mean, I'm over. I over challenged myself with doing this at the same time. Okay, Jihoon is asking, hi, what are your beliefs on lifting your feet versus being grounded? I had some professors tell me that you must never lift your feet and always be flat on the ground. I think it's a very good idea to have the feet on the ground. I'm quite shocked when I see videos of mine where my feet are not on the ground and even moving. This is not something I like to do. So the idea is to really be well grounded there. And there's no dogma. But I think That should be the default position. When I practice, I'm with the feet flat. In concert, yeah, anything goes. But as I said, for example, with the bow changes and with playing on the fingerboard, practice never on the fingerboard. And in concert, you don't have to play as close to the bridge as you practice, but yeah, don't be too. Give yourself some wiggle room. So practicing closer to the bridge, and then you can move away in the concert. Same with the feet. You have them on the ground when practicing, and in concert you can, because it's also, if you want to move, well, you could move with the feet flat. Yeah, actually good. Maybe it's a good thing to think really when playing, especially when there's like a difficult passage, that we focus more on flat feet than the notes coming up. Maybe that takes pressure away and we play better. That could be also an answer to the previous answer about nerves. Think of something different. When a difficult place comes up, I often just focus on breathing. DMSH5 has another question. Thank you. One more question, if I may. For years, I struggle with a pain in my left part of the neck when I start to practice a lot. Do you know any exercise for this? There is no exercise for that. I'm very sorry. The only thing you can do is, you're doing something wrong. If there's pain, you're doing something wrong. There shouldn't be any pain. And if there is, you have to check your position, film yourself and see what you might be doing wrong. I mean, what did you say, the left part? Or maybe you're getting tied here or something. I have the neck a little bit away from my neck, the cello neck, so there's some distance. But, well, you could do Alexander technique. I'm going every 4 months to a guy who's doing rolfing, but it also has something to do with Alexander technique. So this whole, I mean, physical therapy, how you hold your body up is quite important. How you sit on your ass bones. There's a video on Patreon where I discuss that to great extent. How one sits on one's ass bones. So we definitely don't sit like that. Sit quite. So there has to be, somebody could jump on the back and you don't fall apart. So you should be very symmetric and almost leaning a little in. So definitely not this. Don't play like some of the famous cellists play. I'm thinking of one in specific who's almost falling off his chair. And that's fine. He's beyond anything. So, but not for young people. How do you work on intonation and passages so that it's consistent and tuned even on the bad days? Well, I swear on these daily routines of mine. They help me to be in such shape that actually the pieces I play, the intonation is not that complicated to do. So I showed before how I practice like a difficult passage like that you stop. So you stop after each note. But much more importantly, I mean, there are these tricks for really difficult places. The general intonation, you should not need to practice that on the pieces. If you want a consistent, good intonation, do something like my daily routine. Could be anything else, but do some feuillard, some scales and arpeggios, and do them really well. Not just like, okay, I go through the motion, but really like... So with the sound, don't try to play beautiful. just with an honest sound. Honest means no. That's not honest. There I can cover up so much bad intonation. Here, this kind of shows everything. If it's wrong or... So as many overtones as you can do. Never, ever correct. If you play wrong, don't correct. I mean, in concert, yes, we have to pretend that we play perfectly well, but when you practice, if you go... No. Very definite, and if it's wrong, you go back. I'm exaggerating here, but yes, not just correcting. Correcting is completely counterproductive. You might as well not practice, because your finger will remember the first hit and not the correction. Well, you get the message. So that's the only way how to get a good intonation. Especially for Bach, there's so many notes. You cannot practice every single note to get in tune. You have to have an intonation which is so solid that you can play a Bach suite perfectly in tune. Otherwise, every other note will be out of tune. Okay, Joseph Meyer Dawson is asking, I have a frequent problem. I'm afraid of running out of stamina in long pieces like the Coda Jello Sonata. Do you have a way before marathon performances to ensure you will be at your best? No. My only way is to practice with full intensity. So as I just showed you, that's how I practice my daily routines. They take 1 hour, 10 minutes, and after that, well, I could not play a single note more for the first 3 days after not having touched the cello for 2 weeks. The first 3 days were just daily routines, and then I was dead. So I didn't have the stamina. Also, to save stamina, don't play here. We should always, as I said many times, the frog is our friend. Here we have... So I'm not trying to play pretty here, I'm just make the point. There's so much arm weight, it's too much, so we rather have... Says the guy who starts Dvorak with up bow. Well, I do that because we have much better sound on the 16th note. Oh, actually, that proves my point. This is hard. That's tiring. That's not tiring. And this is not tiring either. Because there I get the sound with the speed. And there's no accent, by the way. So we don't need the pa. We want ta, 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 ta. Yeah, so that's my answer. Well, I don't know how old you are, Joseph. I've been told in age the muscles go less and we should do maybe some push-ups. But I'm old now and I don't do push-ups and it still works. So try to play as efficient as possible. Don't waste your energy. And playing in the lower half as much as you can. I see a lot of people play entire Bach suites here. And they're surprised that the G doesn't sound anything, A is far too loud, and saves a lot of energy and gives you more control of shaping, phrasing and everything. So that's my advice for that. Okay, I get nervous. Oh, Joseph says, I get nervous about this possibility whilst performing, which ironically drains my energy in easy passages too. Oh, that's indeed a problem. But I forgot. Well, if you practice really well. Oh, earplugs. If you practice with earplugs, you will practice much more intensely. And that will give you better stamina as well. Hi, Katja. Nice to see you. That's my... Who are you, Katja? You're the sister of my brother-in-law, which makes you... I don't know. You're very nice. Your friend. Kerem Atatürk is asking again. I've once played with the Guarneri Pietro 1740, and it was a beautiful cello that my teacher had. Glad you're reckoning with two monster cellos. It must be amazing. Well, I have to return it unless I find a sponsor. So I'm trying. It would be nice because here I'm afraid that in older age I won't manage to play on it anymore because it's so big. Pedro González is asking, estoy con la segunda posición y si no abro la mano bien no me sale, es como el canto. Como el canto. So Pedro is playing the second position. Yes, tienes que abrir la mano, pero si tocas como eso, eso es peligroso porque toma mucha energía. So if we stretch the hand in the second position like that, we get very tired. I used to play the fourth Bach suite like this, and now I'm closing the hand as much as possible. So I'm not going, but more. But he's asking about the second position. So, sí, la segunda posición es mucho más difícil que los otros. Especialmente en do, re, mi. Especialmente en este cello. Es como... Okay. Tom, here. How important is it to relax high tomato juice? The lower back and stomach when you're playing heavily. Oops, I've never heard about that. The lower back, stomach. Well, breathing. Breathing is more important than relaxing. The lower back should not collapse, should not be like this. The lower back should be quite, there could be some tension. I don't have any lower back problems anymore since I go to this super guru in Berlin. But no, you have to be relaxed here, but here, I don't know. And deep breathing, but relaxed, I couldn't tell. Okay, I'm switching over to Instagram soon. One thing. What do you think about Shafran's playing? I've noticed that he keeps bow with a certain angle at the beginning, and when he goes on top, he uses full hair. I guess it's a good way to keep full sound. I've never seen Shafran play, and I heard only 5 minutes. People who follow me know my my reservations about Daniel Shafran. Mainly taste-wise. He must be a very good cellist, because cellists love him. But the few things I heard in my life so far, and it's like, I don't know, 7 different pieces where I heard like 20 seconds and then I didn't like it anymore. Or maybe I listened 10 minutes, that could be. So, but full hair, yes, for me full hair is a default way of playing. So there should be not never, but the default should be always flat hair. And if you want to play soft, then you go a little, you do this. So if I play... That's a loud note. So if I want to play, let's see. I want to play this soft but still close to the bridge, then I use much less hair. But I don't go here, because that won't carry. So if I play... oh God, this is super hard. On the Guarneri it's about here. Yeah, I know why I'm trying to get this. This has the rounder sound in a way, but the Gofrilla cuts through well, the Guarneri cuts through well, and it's easier to play. So sorry, that's but your down bows are more often start with using full head. Do you have ways to keep sound full when going up or down? Is it all about shoulders? Oh, So Shafran is, well, if you, obviously I could play much louder here than on the tip. So if I don't want that, then I just don't play my loudest there. If I have a long note, I won't play as loud as possible on the thing. But I'm playing always flat here. And loud. Do you ever work on Starker's organized method? If so, how do you approach it? No, I have my daily routines and I've never done anything else. And those books, those great teachers and cellists and musicians wrote, often there's too much in it because they need to fill the book. You cannot just have, like my daily routines, they are like 4 pages and that's it. Or 6 pages, and you cannot sell that as a book. So they have to make up all kinds of stuff. And for me personally, I think it's much more efficient if you stick to just a couple of basic, when I'm doing now. With the thumb. Basic, very hard, but it doesn't need, I don't need billions of variations with it. And I know with these books, none of the things those guys put are bad. But for me, it's much better to have the few exercises I do and repeat them over and over and over and over again for the rest of my life. For me, that's more efficient, and I need to spend much less time on the pieces I have to practice. So if you love the Starker method, I would pick a couple of different, I've never seen that, so I don't know what we're even talking about, but I could imagine it's a thicker book. So pick some which seem important to you and just stick to them. Stick to them and perfectionate them. Pick some which you can finish in 1 hour. You shouldn't spend more than 1 hour on technique if you're in shape. But do the same stuff over. You don't have to work through a whole book. That's my very strong advice to anybody who wants to do exercises. Carsten is asking tips for sautiller. I think I'm the video about sautiller. So join my Patreon platform. There's the video about sautiller. I never learned it. It just worked somehow. But in that video, I think it had something I forgot. It was something like. So it comes from a kind of a circle. Or the other way around. Definitely, it's a bow stroke on the string. So, how does it go? In the string, and it's not nothing floppy. But yeah. That's sautiller. Peng Li. Oh, likewise. Looking forward to my time in North Carolina next week. I'm doing Dvorak there again. It's such a pleasure to play this piece. Okay, I move back to the Instagram messages. Cello Cloven is asking, but why not be 0 on the improvisation possibilities on your very good cello? Failure is often the same safe solution, but what if you are a 0 on improvisation? We, including myself, are safe, but oh god, I don't understand that. Sorry, why not be 0? Oh, sorry, don't get it. I see, but let's not forget the high attention is not so good for the instrument. Maybe you know more than me. My luthier is 83 and she worked with Batelot and Charles Beers and um, mm, there where she learned, and she's watching over most of the great instruments of Berlin Philharmonic. She put the bridge, so I trust her. She didn't say that's bad for the instrument. Wait 1 second. Oh no, I cannot do that. First Jello is asking, thoughts on learning new pieces efficiently, just nailing them from the get-go. Well, take your time. Don't listen to anybody. Just take the music and with patience go slowly through it. Maybe even whiten out the fingerings. Often printed fingerings are not very good because everybody has different needs. Find your own way. Sometimes they're really too simplistic. Oh, what am I doing? I'm completely off center here. No, sorry. Oh yeah, I should have moved. Silly me. What was I saying? Yeah, go to my Patreon page and watch. There's 20 videos of how I approach learning a new piece. I think it can teach young cellists a lot. And I'm very honest, I've never touched the piece before, and you see me struggling and you see me cursing, but don't want to get it perfect at first go. You need to be in good shape. I would never start a new piece before not being in good shape. Matisius1 is asking if I have advice for the left hand in the Saint-Saëns concerto in the third movement. Advice for the left hand? You mean well, I have a good fingering. This one. Do you mean this? Shit. I cannot do it. So that's my best advice. To stay on the string and have the same fingering for both places. And then, well, you want advice for the left hand, do feuillard. You need a good basic technique to practice that. If you don't do anything in a basic exercise then this will be such a hard time learning and playing fast, because it should be quite fast, I think. But once you figure it out, if you have a good fingering and you feel good, then rhythms. This. Or spät. Mann. You get the idea. And metronome. So rhythms and metronome is the best idea for quick passages. Lucas Plug is writing, same as breathing through the butt you mentioned for some Brahms with good sitting. Yes, that's how I was taught to breathe deeply, by sensing that I breathe through my asshole. This is what my Beck guru recommended, and it really helped a lot. Breathing deeply and sitting well it makes cello playing much easier. Cello Cloven says he had, or she, I cannot see the picture. So I had 2 COVID injections in my left shoulder. I have never had problems in that part of the body, but suddenly I thought maybe that was the reason for it. I'm not a medical person, but I just read a big article about hypochondriac. I don't say that you're hypochondriac, but if you have that idea, and I know of some people who were hesitant or doubtful with the vaccinations, they developed almost some mania about it. But if it hurts now, yeah, it's difficult to block that out. If there's something wrong, go see an orthoped or something, and film yourself. I had my injections. I never had any pain. I mean, I had pain, but it went away after half a year. But everybody has different reactions, I guess. So difficult. Maybe, but don't completely take out the possibility that maybe you're doing something wrong. You're doing something different than after COVID. That could also be. Lucas is saying, I've seen and used and heard that some big vibrato usually carries the best in big halls, but I wanted a faster color vibrato. Do I just keep it big so that it carries? I don't know if big vibrato carries. Honestly, I have no idea. I think what carries is if we have overtones. Maybe that's just a cheap excuse to be lazy with the vibrato, because big vibrato is easy. This, I don't know if that's louder than. This is more tiring. This is harder. I mean, to have a faster and smaller vibrato is more tiring, but I doubt that it carries better. What carries is playing close to the bridge. Nothing else. I think big vibrato, small vibrato, no vibrato, you can. The vibrato won't help you project better. Your right arm helps you. I'm quite sure, but I didn't make a scientific test with that. Well, you could say, oh, the opera singers. Well, the opera singers have bad technique. The ones with the big vibrato have bad technique. I heard some amazing singers in the last row of a huge opera house completely over the orchestra with Waltraud Meyer, her vibrato was almost too small, but she's a huge projection. So the size of vibrato, it's not the size which matters, it's the technique. Said the guy with a small hand. Okay, what else? Kate Wiles says, how do you make high harmonic sound with new strings? Such at the end of the run in Elgar fourth movement. End of the run? There's a high harmonic? Oh, the... How does it go? I don't play harmonic. But... just stay close to the bridge. Any harmonics close to the bridge. What is it? Saint-Saëns, end of last movement. As close to the bridge as possible. The problem is, if we get nervous, we tend to go away. And that is not helpful for harmonics. Or so just breathe, focus on the breathing and go close to the bridge. Now you can say, oh, but you have a cello, it's good cello. And no, whenever I teach in a masterclass, I take the instruments of the student, and you can do that on any cello. What I just did, you can do on the Chinese factory cello. It might not sound as well as this cello, I hope, but it's definitely on the same page. Okay, I go back to the other comments. Back to Joseph, who said that young Kodai told Miklos Perini to do push-ups. That's funny. Well, Kodai was not a cellist. He would know. Okay, Dear Alban, I'm a university student. Lately, while practicing Piatti number 3, octave intervals have been causing pain in my thumb. How can I practice to make my thumb more relaxed? I don't think there is a way to make your thumb relax. You have to build up stamina for your thumb. So check out, again, my daily routines. They have some very good thumb exercises like... this kind of stuff, or the swan with a thumb only. You need to strengthen whatever muscles you need. Obviously, it's not the muscle only in the thumb, it's the muscle somewhere. It's hard. I mean, cello playing, our repertoire is easier than the violin repertoire, but the instrument to master the cello is probably a little bit harder. I mean, physically harder. And if you never use the thumb and suddenly you play octaves, sure, it's too tired. You get tired. So you need to incorporate the thumb in your daily exercises. Otherwise, you cannot relax the thumb. There's no way. You need to push down the string, I guess. Tomato juice. That's a cool name. How important is it to relax your stomach and lower back? Oh, I did that already. It's not important. Hans Baumert is asking, how many hours of practice per day you think are necessary for a student? Ooh, that's a good question. God. How many hours are necessary? Well, I would think minimum 4 hours. I did between 6 and 8, sometimes 9. But with my knowledge today, I probably could do it between 4 and 6 or 5 and 7. It's just, as a student, you also should do etudes. I don't do any etudes anymore. I think for me, it's completely superfluous. I need this 1 hour of daily routines, and then I can play the pieces. And the pieces, when I learn a new piece, then it's a couple of more hours. But like now, the Casado suite, which I'm learning, I practice 45 minutes a day, and probably after 10 days, I should know it by heart. So, but that's being efficient now. A student doesn't have all these shortcuts I have found in my 40 years of playing the cello. So, and he needs to learn more repertoire. I played most of the important pieces, so I don't need these hours anymore to learn something from scratch all the time. Once in a while I get a new piece, but otherwise I'm warming up the old stuff. But student, yeah, between, 4 hours absolute minimum, and up to 6-7 hours, I'd say. Depends on what you want to do. If you want to, have a life as a performer, if your goal is to join an orchestra, and you think it's enough for you as a musician to just play Haydn, D major, and Dvorak, then you only need 3 hours, I guess. Oh, you need the orchestra excerpts. Yeah. Well. Yeah, 4 hours. Oh God, I have to be fast. I have to stop soon. Muriel is asking, any tips on keeping the bow closer to the bridge? It tends to inch up, or is it just time practice? Yeah, time practice. Open strings. And obviously it's not dogmatic. You cannot play everything at the bridge, but just train the cello, do long open strings at the bridge. And this you could do really as close to the bridge. Again, any Chinese factory cello can do that. If your cello doesn't do it, then it's a setup problem. And that close to the very tip. But you have to train yourself, and you have to train the cello to work that close to the bridge. Carsten is asking if I have, there are videos. I think there's even an open YouTube video, but that's just like more superficial. Into greater depths, you have to go to the Patreon page. It's in the, I could put it here. 1 second, I write the Patreon page here. www.patreon.com/Alban Gerhardt. That's it. Okay, now we are almost done. Adriana, dear Alban, could you advise some warm-ups when you have very little time, 5 to 10 minutes? Well, für Jahr. Für a Jahr I would do, if I have 5 to 10 minutes, and arpeggio. Oh, and my favorite, if I have really, right before going on stage, I do this, which I cannot do right now on this cello because... And focus on the shifting from your left shoulder. So that's a very good warm-up. Daniel is asking, speaking of vibrato, what is your approach to continuous vibrato when you want to play legato passages to avoid large gaps? That's a very good question, but actually, if I play legato passages, the vibrato will help sound. That was a horrible bowing, but. And you don't have to do this. Well, it's two. I think it's two different entities. Our legato here has to be like this, and here we play the left hand. Often people who do both at the same time, they go. Yeah, I have seen that. I know what you mean. And I don't have a solution for that. But already the fact that you're aware of it shows that you're probably on the right track. Yeah. Otherwise, I don't have a good advice for that. Adriana is asking if I keep a practice journal. If so, always or for specific or new pieces. No, I mean, because I got asked by kids in schools when I go there for outreach, they ask me how long it takes to learn a piece. So when I learned the Unzug Chin cello concerto, I actually marked the hours I practiced. And it was 100 hours until I knew the piece by heart. But then another 100 hours to actually feel comfortable with it. Well, I never feel comfortable with it, but that's the only journal I do. If I learn a new piece, I sometimes do this just out of curiosity to see and to be efficient. To like a bad piece, I don't want to practice more than 20 hours on it. Dear Alban, please play for us the C major slow theme from Saint-Saëns' last movement. That's not C major. It starts with the C. I gave up the legato there, huh? By the way, that's how I test instruments for the C string. This plays. But you see where I am with my bow. Almost. Well, I haven't practiced that in a year. If you feel tired, okay, here, Giancarlo Castrillo Gonzalez. If you ever feel tired because of your daily exercise, how do you practice without your cello? Also, what would that 9 hours of practice involve? Well, when I practiced, the last time I practiced 9 hours, that was when right before recording a CD with my first CD for Hyperion with Dochnani Concertstück, D'Albert Concerto, and Enescu Cello Symphony. And I needed the hours to. Well, because whenever I record, I play it by heart, so I needed that to learn the stuff by heart. Otherwise, yeah, I just learned a lot of repertoire when I was young. I prepared for some competitions and I played string quartet, and there was a lot of, and I needed to get better. I played technical exercises and I practiced at least 2 hours technique every day, I guess. But what the question, tired, if you ever feel tired because of your daily exercise. Well, I never feel tired when I'm in shape. Right now I'm not in shape yet. Like in the next few days I will be. Also because the strings are so high. Without the cello, yeah, if I need to, like, if I have to play Bach suites, all the Bach suites, then I go through them in my mind. That's good for musical reasons and for memory. If I can do that by heart in my mind, then I'm quite safe. But I still like, I need the also, as you might be able to tell by now, I like to not play on the fingerboard. And with Bach, that's hard. So to be able to go sometimes in the string and sometimes out of the string without moving away too much from the bridge. Because playing closer to the bridge gives us more colors and more overtones. Okay, I'm almost done. Let's see. Have you ever oh, you know that we did that already. Hi, I'm experiencing pain my both left and right hand thumbs in the bass where extension tendons are. Some tips. I want to play so much, but this makes me so depressed. Oh, I'm very sorry. Well, might not be the solution to everything, but I think often people work they work technique on the pieces, and then that gets very tiring. You spend much more hours practicing. Focus on these basics. Especially when you play difficult pieces, you lose the correct position and you get too tense. If you practice the basic stuff, you can do that actually quite relaxed while focusing on good sound and everything, but you're not over challenged. And that should put you in the shape. If your left thumb is hurting, then you're pressing too hard, so you need to relax that whole thing there. And you cannot learn that while practicing Dvorak concerto. You can learn that while doing Feuillard, and my teacher made me practice nothing but open strings and then some basic exercises for half a year. When I joined him, I was 12 years old. I had already played Arpeggione and Haydn C major. I mean, I had learned it. But he put me back to scratch because I was like, oh! So I don't know how old you are now, but even if you're in your 20s, sometimes a month just reassessing how you play. And don't watch cellists, famous cellists, because often they're great in spite of their shortcomings physically. I mean, not shortcomings physically, but what they do wrong behind the cello. I mean, this you shouldn't play like that. Some people can play beautiful like that, but the normal person should just sit and play. And then you get to your full potential. Some of these people, like Rostropovich, he didn't have the greatest bow hand, but he was just so good and so, yeah, he didn't need to have a good bow hand to bring his point across, but everybody else needs. I'm playing on my Gofrilla, which I'm playing since 20 years. So it's mine. Hi, Alban, is there a video of masterclass documentary you would recommend? Doesn't have to be specially for cello. No, I don't know anything. I don't watch masterclasses. So I'm a bad advisor for this. So I checked one last time here. No, it's over. Thank you very much for watching. And sorry for the first screw up. I will be better next time. Have a lovely week. Bye.